Just me doing me, man.
Right as sharp. That's insane. Billy Bush. What a touch.
Another compliment. There she is. All right, my friends, welcome to Hot Mics with Billy Bush. Please hit subscribe. Here we go. Whew, what a busy morning. A lot of activity. Oh, my God, is Big Red on fire. I love Kevin Reddington. I've made no secret of that. He is cross-examining Dr. Kirk Heilbrun. And, geez, I mean, it's an annihilation. I think also the assistant DAs who are prosecuting this, Shannon Buckingham and Jennifer Sprague, I think they're intimidated by him. I think they're scared of Kevin Reddington. He's getting a little bit more cantankerous, but he has a reputation in the Boston area. He's well known. So for them, they're kind of, probably impressed that they're sharing a courtroom with Kevin Reddington, and he looks fantastic. He's got the tan suit on this morning. I think he's struggling a little bit with the charm. He's kind of running a little thin, especially with Dr. Heilbrun, who's annoying him to death. Anyway, here's Reddington getting furious.
Yes. There was also counseling. She went to counseling through Latasha Dukes. Miss Joanna was still treating her, correct?
The counseling was limited, but yes, that is correct. She was involved in some counseling.
So it was limited. Is that a bad thing? Did this woman not want to go to anybody that would help her, sir? Are you trying to tell the jury that she was avoiding help? Sustained. Next question. Woo. So it was limited? How is it limited?
Oh, he's just had enough of this guy. He's hard charging. You see him coming he like walks at the witness like a bull mastiff. He's just getting a little, he's getting tired of it. He was moved to evoke emotion from the jury. He tried to touch their heartstrings, describing Lindsay Clancy as a very good mother. And by the way, her whole family, her mother, her father, of course, her sister, but her in-laws, her husband had to admit it. Her mother-in-law, Sue Clancy, she admitted it. She's nothing but a great mother. Hopefully, shortly, we'll be joined by Brian Enton of News Nation. He's been in the courtroom all morning long. He's got some hits to do, but he's on the scene. We hope that he joins us. I want to know what's going on the jury's faces. I want to know how many women there are compared to men. I haven't heard that reported yet. And how are they reacting? Because he's got to be watching them. When I did the one trial I attended in the last few years is remember the Gwyneth Paltrow skiing trial in Deer Valley, Park City, Utah? I remember, just watch. You just got to watch how the jury responds, how the judge, what's on his face. Anyway, what I saw yesterday is prosecutorial self-sabotage. Dr. Kirk Heilbrun, who is, he's the witness testifying after Dr. Abram Mack, who was awful. So anyway, you could put a monkey up on that stand and he would do better than Abram Mack. That guy dropped the bar all the way down. But yesterday, Dr. Heilbrun really shit the bed in the end. A bad note to end on before facing Shreddington. That's for sure. The first impression I got of Kirk Heilbrun was a good one. I thought he was actually a very good witness. He was testifying well. He was exactly what they needed after Mack. He came off as credible. Some of the points that he made that were pretty good. Lindsay's stories about the voice that she heard were inconsistent over time, and that it was more consistent with an unwelcome, intrusive thought that she'd been experiencing for months than an actual command hallucination. He said she decided in early 2023 to attempt suicide and take her children with her because she was convinced they would suffer without her. And he called that altruistic filicide. He noted she didn't ever like to leave her kids, not even for work, school, or date night. Now, this morning, Kevin Reddington just attacked him for that. But his second point was that Lindsay did not report any attempts to mitigate the voice. He also pointed out that having the auditory hallucination for only 18 minutes and never before and never after is extremely rare. He said Lindsay Clancy laying on the lawn after having jumped out the window, and the first thing she told her then husband Patrick was that she'd tried to kill herself. Not something like, I did what I had to do, I did what the voice said, which he pointed out would be more consistent with someone who genuinely experienced command hallucination. So his final point was Dr. Kirk Heilbrun offered a different motive, supporting the prosecution's theory that Lindsay Clancy had intrusive thoughts about suicide for months, and then ultimately she decided to take the kids with her. So he really screwed him. This was a good testimony for quite a while, until the end, when he made the cardinal mistake. He screwed himself again. And we'll call this mortal sin 2.0, because, you know, this is the second time it's happened. And that the prosecution let it happen is another self-inflicted wound.
Isn't suicide a mortal sin?
Yeah, can I see counsel over here?
Yeah, so that really sort of pissed off the judge. He wasn't having it. He said, "Let me see counsel over here. Here you go again. You know, you're invoking something that in a area of the country, South Boston, that's 40% Irish Catholic. I mean, you can't weaponize somebody's faith against them in a courtroom like that. You're heading towards, you know, mistrial. And of course, as we're going to see, Reddington jumped all over it. But here's the judge admonishing this guy in front of the jury before he let them go.
He indicated that was part of her expectation, that she and the children would be together in heaven with God. All right. Now we're getting a little closer to problematic area. Then he testified she was raised as a Catholic. And as I understand Catholic considerations, that's not necessarily what happens. How is any of that proper at this point?
I have to move for mistrial, reluctantly. The reason is that this is intentional misconduct on the part of the prosecution.
Yeah, intentional misconduct on the part of the prosecution. Big Red jumped all over that. The judge said no mistrial at this point. We're not going to do it. But boy, is he close. Yeah. Question is, will he declare a mistrial in the end? Like I said, 40% of the jury is probably Irish Catholic because 40% of the area is. If it doesn't become a mistrial in the end, and this judge is definitely, you know, his temper is thin at this point, it sets Lindsay up for an appeal with the Supreme Court. So, I mean, the prosecutions all but killed themselves with this. So, you know, Big Red has been, he's been, you know, all over this from the very beginning. It's really astounding to me that this prosecution has so many self-inflicted wounds. I mean, they have shot themselves in the foot twice. You mean after the first mortal sin, which completely backfired, the fact that they've got this prosecution witness, the best thing they've had in the trial, coming off a terrible witness in Dr. Mack. The fact that he does it again is unbelievable. It's how does that happen? Anyway, Morning, everybody. Let's take a look at, here's Jackie. Jackie says, both she and the husband creep me out. She's probably the boss, him the pleaser, imbalance of masculine, feminine energy. There's a chasm of disconnect between the way that all this, just vibes that I get. Jesus, that's a hell of an analysis right there. Here, Jackie again brings back the killing of Andrea Yates, Susan Smith, and many more in the news. Yeah, it's unbelievable. We have a very interesting guest. You see all those women in the pink shirts that are out there, and they're supporting, they have their detractors, but it's it came together pretty quickly. And the woman who put it all together, Renee Kimball, she's a woman who lives in Maine. Anyway, got a hold of her, and we talked a little bit about how she sort of put together what's called Lindsay's Army of Love. Here you go. Well, last Thursday, outside of the Plymouth County Courthouse, a large group of women gathered clad in pink. We've seen them before. For Karen Reed, many, could be many the same, I don't know. But they were there to support Lindsay, who hasn't had a lot of support. Didn't have enough support leading up to the moment that's landed us in court. It's called Lindsay's Army of Love, and they gathered not to minimize the deaths of the children, of course not, but to bring awareness to the realities of postpartum psychosis and demand changes in maternal mental health. The woman who put it all together is Renee Kimball, and she's right here. Renee, thanks for being with us. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. How did you do this? Is this all Facebook?
Actually, it was all TikTok on my end. I think it made it to to Facebook and Instagram from other people sharing it, but I started it on TikTok.
What was the first thing you said?
I just said that we all need to come together in support of Lindsay being failed by the mental health system.
What prompted you to do that? I mean, it's just sort of an emotional and very, heartfelt bit of outreach there, but what prompted you to actually hop on and do it?
Yeah, I think we all remember the moment in court that Lindsay was in shambles from listening to the prosecution go over reports of, in testimony of her children's autopsy, and that just stuck with me. If everyone's watching the same trial I am, we are watching a woman who is grieving harder for her children than any of us across the world are.
What do you think about the people who are like, no, it's zero tolerance. This woman killed her kids. We cannot parcel out, different situations, and something as brutal as that. There's no room for nuance. Do you understand that and just disagree, or does that sicken you?
Yeah, it's been interesting to hear the comments and watch the controversy. As a Christian, there is no tolerance for murder. I want to be very clear that the women that stood at the courthouse, my group of 400 women clad in pink, we're not there supporting murder. We're there, I think, if conversation could happen, there is common ground, and that is that we want less tragedy in the future, and avoiding the fact that there's a severe mental health crisis in America and what seems to be across the world, given the support that we've had, is not going to help anything in the future. A lot of mass and domestic tragedy could have and could be prevented in the future if systemic changes can happen from the top down. The 400 of us plus standing there may not be enough to reach the top, but if nobody does nothing, then things will just stay the same.
What do you look at all those women out there, and there's one live streaming as we look at that picture, and then there's the, this picture of women holding hands in a circle here, 400 plus, pretty miraculous. Did you have any idea that many would show up when you first made a post on TikTok?
And not when I first made the post, but it became pretty evident over the next several days that we were going to have a large crowd, and that the message from every single one of them was in regards to mental health reform. We did not go there and talk about conspiracies. We did not go there and talk about trending videos on TikTok. We went there for one reason, and it was to support Lindsay in the fact that she was failed miserably by the systems that she went to for help to prevent her from getting to where she's sitting now and to prevent the loss of her children.
Yeah, you don't get any argument on that from me. I have been, outspoken on the psychiatric field and I've had a lot of experience with it as a patient and as the father of a patient. It's become a prescription writer's racket to me. I don't understand. And telehealth, through COVID hasn't helped very much either. But they used to sit down and psychoanalyze, and now they mostly write prescriptions. We are over-drugging America. We've got there's a drug for every possible ailment we could have. And what this woman needed was attention. She needed relief. She needed someone to take her away and let her, she needed support. She didn't get it. I do think it's a referendum is in order on psychiatry in this country and mental and the system, the whole system that failed her. You are correct in that, and no question. Will you see those women out there? You made your point last Thursday. And Kevin Reddington, her lawyer, walked in and said, "Wow, this is going to help her. She's miserable. She's a broken human being every day. This is going to help her." The car, the truck, or the whatever you call it, the SUV that carries her in every day. No doubt she saw all of you out there, and that's probably the first bit of support she's felt in a long time. Do you have plans to return when closing arguments occur, or, because we're almost at the end here?
Yeah, I've been asked that a lot. My heart is at that courthouse. I would love to be there every day right now. I am from Maine. And I have obviously been dealing with quite a bit of media, which I didn't expect, but I do think it is important to make sure that our message gets out there and it gets out there right, that it's not being portrayed as something it's not. I would love to go back to the courthouse next week. I assume closing arguments aren't going to happen today, maybe not even tomorrow with the way that the trial's going. So I think we have some time to get out there still. I would love to make a point to get out there and just, have the same stand I had before. I do know there's a crowd out there today that is supporting justice for the children. And I don't think that they're too far off from, what we were standing for. This is for the children. This is the best way to honor 3 children that lost their lives, is to bring awareness to the one thing that led to it. So I'm happy they're there. But Lindsay also suffered and was a victim of this as well.
Renee Kimball put it all together from Augusta, Maine. I love it. Up there by where I went to college, Colby College, not far from Augusta. 92 Moose was my radio station up there. We have 92 right. Moose. The Moose,
yes, the Moose
in Augusta. That's right. And don't forget Tom O and the Mountain Morning Show. I interned for Tom O and Mr. Mike on the Mountain Morning Show, 105 TOS, the Mountain of Pure Rock and Roll. And there they let me do a couple of radio shifts, and I was under the name Willie Hall because my real name is William Hall Bush. And I thought that'd be cool to have like a radio name. But anyway, I love Maine. I hope to see you out there again at the Big Finish. But Renee Kimball put all the... It makes me think this, folks. TikTok and social media just magnifies the good, the bad, and the ugly in society. Sometimes it's the ugly, but sometimes it's the good. And here's a woman who reached out from her heart and put together a movement. It just came together like that, and that doesn't happen without social media. Thank you so much, Renee. Good to talk to you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're the best. All right. There you go. There's something good that's happened out of the Lindsay Clancy trial right there. Something really, really, really positive, in my view. So thanks for listening to Hot Mics today, folks. Make sure you hit subscribe, okay? We want you part of the family. And that's it for us. It's astounding. It's really It's an amazing thing. The woman comes down from Augusta, Georgia, and Augusta, Maine, and she puts that all together. I gotta say it. Pretty cool. I asked the question, does anybody think, however, that Lindsay, it seems most people, or certainly women, and myself, think that Lindsay should be found not guilty, that she lacked criminal responsibility in this case. Does anyone feel otherwise? For whatever reason. I noticed Ben Shapiro put up a post. What precisely are women protesting outside the Lindsay Clancy trial? What oppression are they opposing? Why are women posting videos of themselves on TikTok, raging at the world about the stresses of motherhood? Very interesting. Linda says, not guilty. Hey, me too. Richard is with me. Yeah. See, Spencer Pratt posted something the other day like this. I mean, Ben is orthodox. I don't, very conservative viewpoints across the board. I have room for something less strict, because if you find that she is criminally responsible, you are also in the same breath, I believe, letting the psychiatric field in this country and the medical, field in this that covers psychiatry in this country, you're letting them off the hook. There's an opportunity for a referendum. There's an opportunity to fix something that's broken, to update it. They call about DSM-5, which is what? The Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Health Disorders. This was written in 1952. It was updated in 2013, and they recently reprinted it with very, very few adjustments in 2022 or something, or 23. So, I mean, this stuff is really outdated. There's so much they don't know. So I think altogether we have an opportunity to address mental health in this country in a major, major way, an overhaul. And if Lindsay Clancy is found guilty, there's just a big fat excuse to continue not doing that. So thank you, Ben Shapiro. I totally disagree with you. And I think, I don't know if his beliefs are so strict that he has no room for this. Surprising to me a little bit from Spencer Pratt, but, I think he's a pretty conservative guy too. I do have room, I don't demonize people with a different view, even one like this. And we have come a long way. I mean, it used to be a man couldn't open his mouth on a women's issue like this without getting run out of town. But now they're allowed, we're fathers, so men are allowed to have an opinion here too. But I just don't see, I keep coming back to the fact that Lindsay Clancy, that every family member said she was and every person she worked with, pretty much every person, period, other than Shannon Buckingham and Jennifer Sprague, everyone has said she was a really good wife and mother, like totally committed to her kids. So that's where, the problem lies for me. I think, Kevin Reddington, as we speak, at 9:44 a.m. Pacific time, after, 12:44 in the East, is still rocking away with Kirk Heilbrun. They're squaring off, and I believe there's one more rebuttal witness for the prosecution afterwards. So I can't imagine closing arguments, maybe tomorrow. I thought for sure tomorrow. If not, definitely on Thursday. And we will be all over it. Linda says, this feels like a Me Too moment for mental health. I sure hope so. Well, yeah, I mean, think of all the people just in our own chat here who've come forward and talked about suffering from postpartum depression of some kind. Mary says he ripped Captain Kirk apart. He's still doing it.